Welcome back, keepers of creatures. I am the Colonialist, and this is a look at my Dubia Roach colony. They are housed with multiple species in a natural setup inside a large glass planter. I had purchased it from Costco with some cactuses and some little plants inside, but I took those out and repurposed it. Dubia cockroaches can't climb glass, so it's perfect for keeping them inside. The substrate is soil, sand, cocoa fiber with orchid bark on top. The roaches share their territory with Porcellio levis dairy cow isopods, which are a form of woodlice, and also tons of springtails. In the substrate is earthworms. So all of this creates a nice bioactive setup to clean up all the waste produced by the cockroaches and to help them consume any food that's left inside the enclosure. As you can see, I have a healthy colony of nymphs and sub-adults, but I'm quite low on the adult population at the moment. That was due to me overfeeding them to my colonies, and they take quite a while to grow. Dubia roaches have been reported to live for up to 2 years. Nymphs go through several instars or molts to become adults, and that can take up to 4 to 6 months depending on heat, temperature and food. As you can see, my colony is extremely well fed on a varied diet. I keep their temperatures between 30 to 35 degrees Celsius, which I believe is about 90 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. To achieve these temperatures, I heat from above and below. So below I use a heat mat which is attached to a thermostat, and above I use a 60-watt green reptile lamp. You want to keep around 60% humidity, which you can achieve by misting with a fine spray of water. The great thing about keeping Dubia roaches is they are like a mini bin or a food refuse site. You know, when you're finished with your dinner, you just need to give them the scrappier vegetables, even scrap meats such as beef, lamb and chicken. They will consume the lot. I do this occasionally. I feed them also on the protein jelly pots. I feed them fish food flakes. I think it's goldfish. They get the Rapashi bug burger and the Pro Rep bug grub as well. I try to pump the feeder food with as much food types as possible to give them the widest variety of minerals and vitamins that they will pass on to my ant colonies when they're consumed. This in turn gives my ant colonies a higher quality of meat to keep them healthier and going for longer. This is my own personal opinion, but I'm a huge advocate of using a natural setup and making sure it's bioactive to the right quantity that it can deal with all of the waste produced by the cockroaches. It keeps the odor right down and it causes less problems and keeps the setup cleaner, which means you in turn have less to do with the colony except for cleaning the glass so it looks nice. I started my Dubia roach colony with 500 nymphs and 50 adults. During lockdown, because I didn't know what was happening, I added another 500 nymphs, making it 1,000 nymphs and 50 adults. This is where I made my first mistake, because instead of feeding more nymphs, I carried on feeding the adults, and the nymphs take time to grow, and I didn't calculate that time that I needed to give them to become adults. All in all, in the long term, keeping a Dubia roach colony is a very cost-effective way to feed your colonies cheaply. The setup costs a bit of money, but once established, you essentially have a food source that repopulates itself simply off the scrap foods that you feed it. You can go for the egg carton setup like many people do, but I guarantee you after a few months of constantly scrubbing it out and changing the egg cartons over and over and over again, you're gonna get sick of it. Trust me, go with the natural setup and you'll never look back. You don't necessarily have to have a lot of space as long as you use the space smartly. If you can, build upwards and give them a 3D dynamic environment. Let me know in the comments if you keep Dubia roaches. Until next time, this is the Colonialist signing out.